We will start with a new topic for today, which is business income. So have you tried Mr. Vincent Chin question? The one that I assigned you in my guru tu? Try buat tak? Because what we have, what I assigned you before, this one. Alright, this question I've assigned to you this in your My Guru when we have Mr. Vincent Chin, but I asked you to skip part 1 and 2 about the business income, and we only concentrate on section 4B until 4F, and also the personal relief for Mr. Vincent. Alright, anyone wants to share the answer tak? Ada tak? Kita tengok dulu. Anyone yang try, ada tak? I think with you, I haven't discussed the different types of income that he received, because here you can identify because I asked you to ignore section 4A first, and we are going to look at section 4B until F. Alright, so this is what we have. Right, remember for this question alone, we are going to start with section 4B. So Vincent has a bonus based on the question. Bonus of 12,000. Okay. Compensation for loss of employment on 31st December 2017 and a bonus of 12,000 on 31st January 2018. So we are doing year assessment 2018. Since the compensation is assessed in year 2017, we cannot include the compensation here. Okay. And then section 4C, he has dividend from Singapore, dividend from Nestle, interest from KBI Limited, and also bank interest from joint account. So dividend interest are all exempted. Alright, so far okay tak? You all jawab macam ni ke? Ke ada letak numbers kat sini? Alright Okay, so just bonus 12,000. Section 4C, and then we go to section 4D. He has royalties 25,000 in respect of royalties from writing a book on mainland Chinese history. So royalties 25,000. This is a book, art of literary. So exemption of 20,000. So tinggal 5,000 je lah, that is taxable. Rental income, alright. So rental income here, what we have done so far for rental income, kita ada months kan, ataupun certain period of time for the rental income. But for this question, you're given for information number 4 here. Vincent owns a bungalow in Damansara, which he rents out for 8,000 per month. Okay, so 8,000 per month, we are looking at this income as the total year's income. So 8,000 times 12, 96,000. Okay, repairs, 34,000 on mortgage, interest on mortgage. Okay, so interest on loan, kita boleh ambil semua lah, interest on loan. Free fire insurance, 2,600. Quit rent and assessment, 1,400. He also spent 5,200 on electrical and plumbing repairs. Okay, there's the word repair there. And 40,000 on extending the kitchen. So extension 40,000 tu is a capital expenditure, so tak boleh masuk lah. Just the repairs expenses only. So the total expenses for his rental income is 52,800. Okay, 96 minus semua ni, 52,800. Okay, so you total up 12,000, 5,000 and 52,800. That will give us aggregate income of 69,800. Okay, so far okay? Betul tak? Ada yang tersesat? Okay, alright, good. And then for this one, year assessment 2018, kita ada approved donations. Remember dia ada donation note number 6. Vincent donated 5,000 cash to an unapproved Malaysian charitable institution. We cannot simply take the 5,000. Kita kena kira dulu. Because remember for donation, dia tak boleh lebih. It cannot be more than 7% of aggregate income. Okay, so here the aggregate income is 69,800. Kita kena kira dulu 7% of 69,800. So sekarang ni the 7% is 4,886, but he donated 5,000. So we cannot take 5,000. Kita kena ambil, the amount is restricted only to up to 7%. Okay? Alright, so 7% times 69,800, that will give us 4,886. So this will give us a total income of 64,914. Alright, remember you do not throw away the question sebab apa yang saya bagi ni kita ada business income juga. We will do business income today. So lepas ni you can go back to this question, you have to buat balik because you will have a different aggregate income later. Okay, sebab sekarang ni kita belum masuk business income. Kita start with other income, then we start with non-business income that will give us the total income of 64,914. Any questions so far? Okay, alright, good. So next one, let's look at the personal relief. Okay, so this Vincent, kita kata the assessment is separate assessment Vincent and Patricia. So now kita kena buat untuk Vincent dulu lah, because all the details that we have here is actually for Vincent, right, the husband. Okay, so staff relief 9,000, child. The first child, mana anak dia? Eldest son, Robin, 22, pursuing engineering degree. Okay, walaupun dia more than 18 years old, but he's studying a degree. So kita boleh bagi dia child relief of 8,000. Rosalie, 19 years old, degree course in Taiwan, also 8,000. And what dia kata, one legally adopted child. So ada anak seorang lagi, Trisha, who is studying in a local secondary school. Okay, so below 18 years old, the child relief is 2,000. Alright, and again, this is a legally adopted child, so the parents can claim relief to this from these children. Okay, sebab legally adopted, so considered as children lah, because the parents maintain the child. Alright, and then lifestyle relief, 1,700 on books. So this is less than 2,005. Kita boleh ambil semua je. National Education Savings, 8,000. Alright, but this is year 2018. Kalau 2019, yes. Untuk PTPTN ni dia naik ke 8,000. But here 2018, the maximum is 6,000. So you have to be careful with the relief. And then parental care. Dia ada bapak dia, fathers, who is 75 years old, receive a pension of 1,200 a month and stays with him stays with him. Alright, so syarat untuk parental care, the parents umur mesti, ingat tak? In order for a person to claim for a parental care ni, this is not medical equipment, this is not medical expenses tau. Ini parental care yang 1,500 tu. 1,500 for each parents tu, father and mother, 1,500 dengan syarat the parents tu mestilah berumur more than 60 years old. So sekarang the father umur 75. And also the income father dia tak boleh lebih dari 24,000. So sekarang father dia dapat 1,002 je. Okay. And he is more than 60 years old, so Vincent can claim 1,500 for the father. So dia kata father, kalau dia kata parents, kita boleh claim for both father and mother. Now father je, so claim for father only. Alright, EPF and life. So he has here, mana EPF dia? So EPF and life 1,000, 1,320 and 2,200. So he can claim all. This is less than 6,000 lagi, so boleh claim. Sokso max 250 je, walaupun dia bayar sokso dia. Mana sokso dia? 620. Alright, so for sokso ni, Social Security Protection Scheme ni maximum is 250. Even though he paid 620, you cannot claim all. So 250. That will give us total relief of 39970. And tadi kita ada total income kan, 64914 minus 39970. We will have a chargeable income of 24944. Dapat tak? Ke ada sesat somewhere? I will not compute the tax payable yet because when we go back to this question nanti we will have a new chargeable income. So this is the chargeable income like I said here without business income. Okay, so kita buat soalan ni half je. We haven't included business income. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, right. Okay, let's look at Patricia, the wife. This is a separate assessment. Okay, when we are going to do Patricia, so Patricia ni dia tak ada, the income is not complicated as Vincent. So Patricia, he just have 70,000 as annuity income. And she made a cash donation of 1,000 to an approved local charitable organization. Alright, so annuities income under section. Remember, you have to write down the section number untuk income dia. Section apa annuity? Baik, tak jawapan ni. Which section?
Section 4E, madam.
Section 4?
4E.
4E, okay. Setuju semua?
Madam.
Hmm.
Tadi saya terkeluar kejap, saya nak tanya pasal EPF.
Okay.
Mana madam dapat amount 1,720 tu?
EPF and life. EPF dalam ni 11%, nampak? He, note number 4, he contributed 11% to the EPF 11%. So 11% darat dengan gaji dia. With the bonus tu. Dapat tak?
Okay.
So this is not straightforward lah. You are given the percentage je. So you have to multiply with the salary baru dapat the EPF amount. And then the life insurance is 2,200. So this is your assessment 2018. Kita masih lagi boleh combine. So kalau 2019 kita kena separatekan lah. Life dengan EPF ni ada maximum. Okay. Alright, so this is for Patricia, the wife. So dia ada annuity income 70,000, but the bank interest is from local bank. So interest is exempted just like the husband. The husband tadi sini So bank interest from joint account. Kalau you tengok ada notes number berapa ni? 4, 5, 6, 7. Vincent received bank interest of 14,000 from a joint account with Patricia held with the local bank. So all interest from banks are actually exempted. So the husband pun kita letak exempt. So the wife pun sebab this is the joint account. So the wife pun kita letak exempt lah. So income dia hanyalah 70,000 and she donated 1,000 to an approved local charitable organization. So the total income is 69,000. So the relief dia is 9,000 untuk Patricia, but remember Patricia is a mana dia kata? Married to Patricia, tax resident who is physically disabled. So Patricia is disabled, so dia dapat additional 6,000 because she is a disabled person. So 9,000 for self, 6,000 as a disabled person. So total really would be 15,000. The rest tak ada. Patricia ni dia very simple. So 69,000 total income less reliefs 15,000, that will give us 54,000 of chargeable income. So untuk Patricia, I show you the whole calculation lah up to tax payable because untuk Vincent kita kena ubah nanti. So that's why kita tak payah kira lagi the tax payable we stop at chargeable income je. Alright, so the first 50,000, 1,800, the balance would be at 14%, 560. So the tax payable for Patricia is 2,360. Any question tak? So if you have a separate assessment, kita akan present the calculation for the husband and the calculation for the wife. But if you have a joint assessment, you only have one tax computation, satu je. Alright, any question, anyone? Before we move on to the next topic, but we will come back to this question. Alright, so there's no question. We move on to business income. Okay. Alright, so what we have done so far, we concentrate on section 4B, the employment income, we have for C, we have for D, E, and also F. Alright, so kita dah buat from non-business income up to personal relief, because for business income ni, the calculation is a bit different. But once we have the business income figure, we can use that figure in our calculation just now to get a new aggregate income figure and a new chargeable income figure, right? So especially for Mr. Vincent Chin, once we get the business income figure, so we will calculate the tax payable for him, right? So we leave the question for now, okay, as it is, because we stop at non-business income, so for business income nanti kita akan revisit the question. Alright, so business income is tax under section 4A, for small a. Okay. While employment income is taxed under 4B. So the rest you all dah tahu lah, because kita dah buat 4B sampai 4F. So basically itu je section that you all have to learn throughout the semester. Itu je section yang kita buat 4A sampai 4F. It's just that dekat dalam-dalam tu lah we have a few things going on. Alright, so business income. So what we have to know is that the first one is what is actually constitute the business income. What is the definition of business? So here section 2 of the Income Tax Act ni defines business as a profession, vocation and trade, and every manufacture, adventure or concern in the nature of trade, but excludes employment. So you have to segregate between business and also employment. So for employment, we have gone through the definition before. Kita ada master-servant relationship, but for business tak ada master-servant relationship. But if you look at the definition, the business ni dia tak ada mention, there is nothing mentioned about whether the business is legal or illegal. For example, gambling, right? We can say gambling is illegal, kan? But it is not defined in the Income Tax Act, which means if the gambling can be proved as a business, you get income from that gambling business, that can also be taxable. Okay, sebab nampak dia tak ada letak except illegal business, tak ada. Alright, so employment is defined in the Income Tax Act, but all other words in this definition are not defined. Okay, so the word profession, vocation, and trade must be given the ordinary meaning using a dictionary or based on definitions given by judges in some decided case law. Alright, so what we have here is the meaning from a dictionary lah. So based on this standard ni, so the meaning of profession is actually referring to a person using his intellectual or manual skill to obtain the end product. So a doctor or painter in the art field would qualify in this regard as a professional. It will also refer to a professional person who carries on business on his own, like a lawyer having his own legal practice. Okay, that is the definition of profession, using his intellectual or manual skill. Vocation, career or occupation. However, it may be an employment, trade or profession. To be classified as business, it must not be an employment. So it can be something you are earning or making a living with it. So dia ada example dekat sini lah. A person who plays bets systematically was held in a decided case law to be carrying a vocation. So the gains derived were chargeable to tax even if the vocation was unlawful. So we all learn about speculator last semester kan. So kita kata ini dia place bets, macam gambling lah. But it is not, it is considered as unlawful, tapi still considered as a vocation or business. And also trade. So for trade ni, I think everybody knows the meaning of trade is a series of transactions, continuity and repetition of buying and selling or manufacturing and selling. Okay, even if there is only one transaction, it may be held in the nature of trade where such gains would be chargeable to tax, as the definition of business includes adventure or concern in the nature of trade. So kita ada a few conditions here that will help us decide whether a certain transaction is a business trade or not. So, and we call it badges of trade. So these badges of trade ni, there are a few criteria that will help us decide and determine whether the receipt or the gains can be constituted as the nature of trade. If it is not, then dia bukan trade, so that will not be considered as business income. Okay. So this is the badges of trade, and this is dia kita ikut UK punya commission lah, so dia ada Radcliffe commission ni. So this will help us determine whether income derived to is a trade income ataupun bukan, whether it is a business income or not. So the Radcliffe commission UK ni, they listed 6 badges of trade. Alright, so for example, the first one, subject matter, income generating or personal enjoyment to owner. Alright, so the subject matter. Let's say you buy a house and then you sell it. Okay, income generating a business. So the subject matter. Or maybe you have a car. Ambil contoh kereta lah. You have a car. You sell it because you want to buy a new car. That is for your personal enjoyment, kan? This is not for income generating. So in that case, itu tak boleh consider as trade income or business income, because that is not income generating. Rather than you set up a store and you sell, I don't know, you sell food, you sell shoes, you sell baju, so those are income generating. That is not only personal enjoyment but also income generating. So looking at the subject matter too, so depends lah, sometimes it can be income generating, sometimes it can be a personal enjoyment. But in order for it to be a batch of trade, to be considered as business income, dia mestilah income generating. The second one is period of ownership, at least 5 years. So if you buy something and you keep it for 5 years and then you sell it, biasanya kita tak kata itu sebagai trade lah. But if you buy something and you sell it, contoh for a business kan, the stock, the inventory, dia tak ada simpan sampai 5 tahun because you want to keep selling it. So the period of ownership tu you simpan sekejap je. So in that case, that would be a trade lah and would be considered as business income. And the third one is frequency of transaction. Okay, so the frequency of transaction, is it repeated or similar or less than 3 transactions per year? Okay, let's say you buy a house or you buy a car and then you sell it. Let's say you do that, of course kita tak beli kereta, jual kereta dalam masa setahun tu berkali-kali kan. So the syarat here is less than 3 transactions per year. So if less than 3 transaction, itu will not be considered as a trade. For example, yang ada like I said, for inventory, you don't want to keep the inventory for so long. So you might have more than 3 transactions in a year. So it is a repeated transaction. So if the frequency to repeated and more than 3 times a year, it can also be considered as business income. Right, supplementary work on asset. Prior to sale, let's say you want to buy something and you kita kata you do something with the asset, with the, for example, you want to buy a house, so you do you renovate and buat cantik-cantik for you to sell. So that might be considered as business income or trade. And set up to dispose of goods or ad hoc or proper set up. Okay, kalau proper set up memang untuk jual, biasanya dia adalah business lah. Or ad hoc je, tiba-tiba rasa nak jual. I have a house and I want to keep it for investment. And then suddenly, I need money but I have to sell the house. So itu akan jadi ad hoc je. So kalau ad hoc ni kita tak betul-betul set up untuk sell kan, that will not be constituted as business income. And also the motive for transaction, is it long term or short term? So is it if it is only for short term, this is actually looking for profit, so that will be considered as business income lah. Okay, kalau simpan ataupun the transaction is actually for long term, then that will be no element of trading. For example, macam rumah tadi kan, beli untuk investment but suddenly need the cash, so need to sell the house. So we had ad hoc, and cadangan is actually to keep the house for a long time, but you cannot because you need money now, so you have to sell it. So there is no element of trading. So there will be no tax charge on that transaction. So we need all these 6 badges of trade in order for us to help us identify whether it is a business income or not, whether it is an income or not. Or kalau dia business income, it will be taxable. I have a few examples here. Tapi saya tak masukkan dalam notes ni. Okay, tak apa. Ada a few. Alright, there are another 3 additional badges of trade from case law, because you must remember for income tax ni, kita satu, we have the Income Tax Act. Next one kita ada public rulings, and next one kita ada case law. Sometimes it is not mentioned in the act pun, it is not mentioned in the public ruling, tapi ada case law. Walaupun belajar law kan, so in certain time or certain cases tu, the law decided benda tu, so the precedent kita akan ikut the case law. So for example here, from the case law ada 3 additional badges, badges of trade ni. So first one is circumstances surrounding the transaction. Okay, kita nak tengok keadaan dia dekat mana lah. Maksudnya macam tadi lah, the house tadi yang saya kata tu, you want to keep it for a long time, but you need money now, so you have to sell it. So the circumstances tu, even though it is a house, you sell a house, but you can get some money, or kita kata profit, but the intention is actually not to make profit, but because of you need the cash. So second one is profit motive as factor, and the third one is intention to trade. So there are actually other cases lah untuk setiap satu ni ada. For example, for this one, profit motive as factor ni in California, California Copper Syndicate versus Harris, ni zaman bila punya, 1904, lama dah. Alright, so this is example here. Ini tadi lah. So here we have here Mr. Robert. He has several properties in Putra Heights which he had no intention to sell. Right. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Saya buat report, tingkap saya tak boleh tutup, benda tu patah, tu dia call nak datang tengok. Saya tengah datang sekarang tengah kelas, datang lepas kelas. Okay, alright, so we have example here, Mr. Robert, he has several properties in Putra Heights. He had no intention to sell. Nampak? So no intention to sell, kita tahu okay, ni satu, the batch of trade ni mungkin tak fulfill lah kan, because dia tak ada intention to sell. And in December 2017, he was diagnosed with a serious illness and had to incur high medical bills. So in January 2018, he sold a property for 1 million. The original cost is in 2009 was for 450,000. So state whether the profit is subject to income tax in 2018. Untung banyak kan? Tapi the gain will not be subject to income tax as there is no element of trading. Kan dia memang beli rumah untuk jual balik but here he needs the money. Okay. Alright, next one, we must have mutual transactions. So mutuality principle rests on two concepts. So a person cannot trade with himself. I cannot sell things to myself and consider that as a business income. Tak boleh. Mesti ada orang lain. And the surplus of contribution over expenditure cannot be income. Okay, this is the case law jugalah, the example untuk case law ni. So saya skip je this part because you don't have the case, the specific case untuk kita discuss. And factors influencing the mutual concept, okay, there must be complete identity between the contributor and also the participator. Like I said, you cannot sell things to yourself and consider that as a business income. And the dealing should not be by way of trade or even in the nature of trade. Even if there is trading, it should be mutual, and receipt from non-members would be taxable. Illegal activities. So section 4A does not distinguish between a legal and illegal business income. Like I said about the gambling just now. So we know gambling it can be illegal kan, but sometimes it can be legal if you have the license. But section 4A, nampak tak? Dia tak distinguish pun. We cannot say that only legal business is taxable. Illegal business not taxable. No. Everybody is treated the same because the act does not distinguish legal and illegal. If the activity carried on has the characteristic of business, then the income would be assessed under section 4A, notwithstanding its illegal or immoral character. Right? What about hobbies and gambling? Hobbies, gambling. Okay, hobi saya main share. Contohnya, hobi orang ni gambling. Right? Hobi kan? Hobi je. Will be taxable if it can be shown that that was done is a business, is in the nature of trade or is an adventure in the nature of trade. That is why sometimes we can see some people, even celebrities, sometimes kita nampak macam okay, apa kerja dia buat, apa dia buat, and we cannot see dia, tak nampak dia pergi kerja but they have income. Okay, based on the hobbies dia sometimes. And sometimes too, even now, kita ada ramai Insta famous yang not so smart. They publish everywhere telling, they brag about it kan, income dia dapat from here and there. Dia kata, oh dia tak macam kita, dia tak ada employment income, dia tak bayar income tax. Tapi dia brag about it, dia tunjuk semua tempat kan. The IRB's eyes are everywhere. They know. Because they sometimes think that, okay, they tak ada tax file, they don't have to pay tax, but they must remember they have bank accounts. Kan? Lembaga hasil can detect you based on your bank account tu. Siapa ni bank account juta-juta ni? Pergi tengok sikit orang ni, dia declare tak income dia? No, not declared. Habislah. One phone call away je from the tax audit tu. And sometimes, like I said, it is a hobby, but you publish it everywhere. Semua orang tahu, the neighbors tahu, the neighbors know, your siblings, your cousins, everybody knows kan, your colleague knows. And you brag about it, oh tengok aku tak bayar-bayar, bla 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 kan. Don't do that. Kalau tak kena lepas okay kan. But once you get it just like the one that I shared before, kita ada satu celebrity, saya tak ingat nama dia, and he has to pay like 40,000 tax kan because he never declared. Ingat the celebrity income dia dapat tu tak perlu declare, but no, dia tak declare, but your IC, your bank account, semua use your IC kan, tu lembaga hasil easily. They have one department to do that tax audit je. Kerja dia cari je orang yang tak bayar ni. Even you see before pun kan, we have a lot of businessmen, celebrity yang kena charge because they don't declare their income. Alright, trading in shares. Okay, you all have learned about share trading and belajar investments kan. So share trading is very easy to do kan. Guna phone je boleh buat. So is it a trade or adventure in the nature of trade? Okay, so lembaga hasil will take into account the following factors. Satu, nature of occupation of individual. Like my case, saya kerja lecturer. Tapi saya trade in share banyak. Kan? So it can be a trade. Sebab itu bukan kerja saya. Unless my work is trading, saya adalah trader kan. You all belajar dulu, saya ingat last semester kita ada Mr. Kamal kot kan. He explain about trading, speculating semua ni and you make a lot of money. But it is your job. Then tak apa The nature of the occupation ini memang macam tu. So are you a speculator? Under the background of taxpayer, there is a possibility of insider trading. If he holds himself as a dealer in stocks and shares, if his share operations are organized, and does he have expert acquaintance with computer technology? So kalau ada semua ni, they will be considered as a trade. This is the case law juga, Leeming versus Jones, very famous case. So the test here, trading in shares ni, positive existence of trade should incorporate 3 factors. Satu, organisation, it must be organised. Every month ada a few transactions that you have to do. Kalau macam saya, I trade shares tapi saya selalu lupa je, lantak situ biar dulu lah. Oh tiba-tiba, dapat dividen. Tiba-tiba, tengok, alamak, rugilah. Oh, nak tambah the ownership lah. You know, sekali-sekala je kan. So not organised at all. I don't even have an agent for me. Saya buat sendiri je. So not organised at all. So if ada organisation and special skill, I learn about all the technical skills, analysis semua tu, I learn about it. So I have the special skill to do it. And the subject matter lending itself to commercial transaction. And also ada 3 faktor ni, and don't forget to go back to the badges of trade tadi. Ada intention to make profit, semua tu. Then that will be considered as business income. So this is very tricky. Then looking at the condition, at the situation now, duduk rumah goyang kaki pun you can have income kan. So all this will be a guideline for income tax to assess your income. If you can prove that, okay, this is not trade in nature kan, that is why you cannot be taxed under business income, then fine. But the IRB will use all these criteria untuk assess the income to whether it is taxable or not, because end of the day all this will help lembaga hasil to determine whether the income is taxable or not. Okay, trading in shares for companies, right? Just now we are talking about individuals who involve themselves in trading of shares, but what about companies? Company also trade shares. So the fact that they are formed with the view of making profits, it is difficult to prove that their share transactions are merely investment. Betul tak? Because in our case as an individual, kita kata okay, our trading in shares is investment, not for profit making kan, just for investment. Even investment pun kalau ikutkan, we can be tax kan, but the dividend in Malaysia sekarang ni semua exempted. But for companies, we know the company objective is actually to make profit. So it's very hard for them to give the proof that there is only investment and they are not making profits. So for trading options in company, normally the lembaga hasil will use the Leeming and Jones test to apply whether there is an existence of trade or not. Dia akan guna ni lah. Ada tak semua ni kan. Sometimes some company dia ada investment department. Dia kerja dia manufacturing, but dia ada investment department yang kerja dia macam ni je. That will be tax under considered as trade sebab dia ada all these 3 process tadi. Alright, taxability of grants. Okay, apply to test to determine the main purpose of the grant, also to assist to perform trading operation more profitably, then they will be taxable as a trading receipts. Alright, so ini yang kita nak tahu because tadi just now we are looking only at the definition of business income and what constitutes income. Okay, so charge to income tax, again we have to look at section 3 of the Income Tax Act. So income tax shall be charged for the year of assessment upon the income of any person accruing in or derived in Malaysia or received in Malaysia from outside Malaysia. So our income tax is very clear. You dapat income from Malaysia or receive in Malaysia from outside Malaysia. Okay, that would be that. Alright, in some cases, section 12(1)(a) ni gross income from the business as is not attributable to operation of the business carried on outside Malaysia shall be deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, so whether business income is deemed to be derived from Malaysia. Contract concluded in Malaysia. Ni contohnya, this is a Singaporean company. Okay, dia tak ada kat Malaysia pun. Company is Singaporean company. Okay, but we want to know whether the income to derive from Malaysia or not. Number 1, contract concluded in Malaysia. Dia ada, let's say dia ada cawangan je dekat Malaysia, but all the business is done in Singapore. But they come to Malaysia to conclude the contract. They have stocks maintained in Malaysia. Dia ada gudang dekat Malaysia, the warehouse is in Malaysia. The business is in Singapore. But all the kita kata stocks are all kept in Malaysia. Ownership and risk passes in Malaysia. The trading done in Malaysia. Office dekat Singapore. Sale proceed received in Malaysia. Services rendered in Malaysia. You nak beli barang dia, you datang beli dekat Malaysia. Walaupun company tu Singapore company. So, kalau activity ni one or more, satu pun dah cukup dah. Then the business is the business income is deemed to be derived from Malaysia and will be taxed in Malaysia. Okay, kalau ada salah satu ni. Tak payah salah satu, one or more je. Okay, example. Because when we're doing business income, kita akan jumpalah all these kind of situations. So here company ni, Aqua Sdn Berhad deals in home appliances. The company has a branch in Hong Kong. Goods were shipped from Malaysian office to the Hong Kong branch, okay, at a cost of 150,000 plus a markup of 10% and subsequently sold by the branch to local customer for 200,000. How much profit was derived from Malaysia and subject to tax in Malaysia? Okay, what do you think?
$35,000 ke? Dia punya profit tu kita tolak lah dia the amount of the sold tu, markup price semua kan, dapat amount tu kan. 35,000.
Rest? Setuju? What about others? What do you think? Sebab dia sekarang dia ada branch branch dia dekat Hong Kong. I have few more examples here. Alright, so for this one, saya cari kalau dia example yang 48,565K. Okay, so now dia ada, the cost is 150 plus a markup of 10%. And subsequently sold by the branch to a local customer for 200,000. So kita boleh katakan dekat sini walaupun the business carry out outside Malaysia, it shall be deemed to be derived from Malaysia, but kita kena kira lah how much income will be derived from Malaysia. So here 10,000 plus 10% from 150,000 is 15,000. 200 ni dia jual dekat Hong Kong tau. So ini cost plus markup 10% ni. Kita the taxable amount in Malaysia is only the 10% ni. Now 200 ni dia jual dekat Hong Kong So dia jual dekat Hong Kong, the income tu dapat from Hong Kong. Nampak tak? Sekarang ni cost dia 150 tapi dia jual pada harga markup 10% which is 15,000. Okay. Tapi kalau tak ada branch dekat Hong Kong tu, so kita kata income derived from Malaysia ni taxable in Malaysia 15,000 je. 15% je. Ini taxable in Malaysia. Because now dia hantar barang tu pergi Hong Kong and the customer in Hong Kong paid for 200,000 and the untung tu kita kata pergi dekat branch dekat Hong Kong sebab sekarang dia hantar barang tu pergi Hong Kong branch and Hong Kong branch yang sell the 200,000 tu. In Malaysia dia cuma markup 10% so only 15,000 is taxable. But if the company tak ada branch dekat Hong Kong, dia jual directly dekat customer ke Hong Kong so the taxable amount would be 50,000 lah. 200,000 all the profit 50,000. Okay. So cost dia 150,000, 200,000 minus 150 cost dia. Kita boleh kata 50,000 ni taxable in Malaysia. Kalau dia tak ada branch, if no branch. Now dia ada branch. So branch tu yang uruskan dia hantar barang pergi branch dia. Branch tu yang jual dekat customer di Hong Kong. Beza If tak ada branch, Malaysian company sell directly to customer in Hong Kong. That profit is taxable in Malaysia. Sebab itu adalah Malaysian company, they sell directly to customer in Hong Kong. Now, Malaysian company, they ship barang pergi Hong Kong branch. Dan di ship barang tu, barang yang di ship tu is 150,000, 10% more than the cost. So 10% tu je dikira taxable. Itu je dikira untung dia. Not 200,000. Boleh? Because now dia ada branch. Kalau ada branch, dia akan jadi macam ni. Kalau dia tak ada branch, yes. If they sell directly to Hong Kong, then tak ada apalah. The profit tu, the sole profit yang dia dapat tu memang will be taxable in Malaysia. Now tak, sebab dia bukan jual directly to customer. Sekarang ni kita tengok the relationship is that Malaysia company dia bukan jual directly to the customer. Dia hantar pergi branch je. The branch tu yang pergi ke customer. Ada 3 parti kat sini kan. Malaysia company, Malaysia, branch and customer. So dia pergi ke branch dulu. The taxable amount is only from Malaysia to branch. Branch ke customer di Hong Kong, tak ada. That would be tax di Hong Kong. Sebab keuntungan tu Hong Kong branch yang punya. Dia tak kira Malaysian punya. Tapi kalau tak ada branch ni, means that the Malaysian company terus pergi ke customer in Hong Kong, dapat profit, the profit tu akan balik ke Malaysia. Sekarang kita nampak the profit tadi ni akan pergi ke Hong Kong branch, bukan ke Malaysia ni. Okay? Sebab customer tu di Hong Kong. So logically, the profit will go to Hong Kong branch. Nanti saya tengok kalau ada a few other questions, nanti I will share with you. But this is basically when we talk about whether the business income is derived from Malaysia. Inilah macam tadi kan, stock maintained in Malaysia. Commencement of business. This is also important because we want to know the date, the trading date of the business too, in order for us to decide whether the business already commenced or not. Because for business income ni, we need to determine the basis period in relation to assessment year. This is different with individual because for individual income kita is from 1st January until 31st December. But for a business year ending dia tak semestinya December. Some business year end is June. Some business year end is September. So sekarang kita nak tengok we have to determine the basis period in relation to the assessment year. Sometimes kalau dia macam okay, let's say year end dia ialah June. So May 2020 sampai kita kata June 2020 sampai May 2021. Okay, sampai May 2021. So the basis year dia, the year of assessment bukan 2020 year assessment dia jadi 2021 lah. So business walaupun datang daripada 2020, nampak setahun June 2020 sampai May 2021. Okay, year assessment akan jadi 2021 bukan 2020. Okay, so that is the difference. Sebab tu kita perlu tahu the commencement of the business, to bila business tu start. And also to identify the expenditure incurred before the date of commencement, and to identify capital expenditure incurred, and also to allow for capital allowance against the business income in relation to the relevant year. Saya tambah dekat sini lah kot for year of assessment Alright, so for basis period ni kita boleh tengok lah dekat sini saya tambah sikit kalau basis period ni. Okay, let's say business dia start at commence business on 1st March 2019. Okay, dia mesti jadi 1 tahun lah bila dia commence business 1st March 2019. So kita akan tengok lah for 2019 dia. 2019 dia akan jadi 1st March 2019 sampai 31st December 2019 So year assessment dia boleh jadi salah satu mana-mana yang dia nak pilih lah Biasanya kita akan ambil year end lah, which is dia akan jadi 1st March 2019 sampai 28 February 2020. So here year assessment 2020 Kita ambil yang ni. Because this is considered as year end lah, the financial year end of the business, financial year end. Ini calendar year tapi tak cukup sebulan, but some company dia pilih yang ni So that is why kita perlu tahu the basis period dia. So here basis period dia, kalau ni kita boleh ambil inilah basis period dia. Kalau kita nak pakai year assessment 2019, this is the basis period. Okay, that is why we need to know the date tu. Sekarang ni kalau business commence on 1st March, so kita ada option kat sini Alright, and then the commencement of business ni, the general guide would be when it embarks on activities directly related to generation of income from the business, and when everything is in place for the activity to commence. Contohnya, okay, saya tambah dekat sini Subject to the specific circumstances and facts of the case, the following examples may be indicative of the commencement of business. Okay. Contohnya, acquisition of business. Kita tahu commencement dia bila. It can be the date of the existing business is acquired. Hotel. Okay. If it is a hotel business, kita nak tahu bila commencement date dia. It is actually the date the hotel is open to the public. The manufacturer, kita nak tahu bila commencement date dia The date raw materials are purchased. Because sekarang ni for a manufacturer barang belum jual Kita we cannot say that the commencement of the business start when the manufacturer sells the product. No. Tak boleh. Sekarang ni for a manufacturer generally the business can be said the commencement of the business can be said when the company actually purchased the raw materials. Because we know when they purchase the raw material, the intention is actually to produce product and to sell. So business commence when the company or the manufacturer purchase raw materials. Plantation company, the date the seeds are sown or seedlings planted. Plantation tak semestinya tunggu pokok dah besar baru letak anak benih tu dah dikira commence dah business tu. Property developer, the date the land is purchased. Developer beli nak buat rumah but first of all dia akan beli tanah dulu. So the moment dia beli the land, the business is already commenced walaupun belum buat bangunan lagi. Right? And the construction, the date the land is leveled. Alright, let's look at this example here. Okay, so can you decide when is the commencement date of this company? Alright, what do you think? When is the commencement, the date of the commencement of the business for this company? The manufacturer, what do you think?
So Disember 2017.
1 December 2017. Setuju semua? Ke hentam je? There's a lot of dates there, but we have to decide when is the commencement date. So it is a manufacturer. So generally for a manufacturer tadi kita kata when they purchase the raw materials kan. Sekarang kita tak ada date dia purchase sebab kita ada date dia barang tu sampai. So we can say that the 1st December 2017 is the commencement date of the business. What about this one? Alright, so when is the commencement date? February lah, April lah, bila?
February. Dia ni retail lah madam kan?
It is a supermarket. So for this one, we can say that based on the story ni the retail stock arrived. Dia kalau if you go back to definition earlier tadi kita tengok when the business is ready for business. So here the supermarket was open to the public on 1st April. So the first sale was made on 5th April. Dia buka 1st April, jual, the first sale was made on 5th April. Official opening 1st May. Ini semua tak ada kaitan ni. Alright, so the commencement date of the business is actually 1st April 2019. Sebabnya business is not ready. Dia beli barang, because this is retail, dia beli barang, dia susun dekat shelf. Dia still tak buka lagi di supermarket tu, kita tak boleh kata itu the business is commenced lah. Tak ready lagi kan. But macam ni kan, retail stock arrived towards the end of March, were arranged on the shelf. So dia buka to the public on 1st April. So 1st April is the commencement date of the business. Okay. Alright, we also want to know whether it is a new business or continuation of an existing business. So it is important because it has an impact on the deduction of capital allowance. So capital allowance kita akan buat later. Capital allowance ni, if you learn accounting, kita dalam accounting we have depreciation of fixed asset kan. So when we have a long-term asset, normally we calculate a depreciation, which means after the wear and tear of the asset, the value will go down. But in taxation, the concept is similar to depreciation, but in taxation it is called a capital allowance. The concept is sama je. It's just that in accounting, the depreciation charge is actually depending on the company. For example, for the same asset, if the company use it more frequently, biasanya dia akan depreciate more compared to another company with the same asset. Dia guna kurang, dia akan depreciate maybe less. So first company might depreciate the asset at 20%. So the second company might depreciate the asset at 10% only. But for income tax ni, the capital allowance ni is standardized throughout the asset. For example, for machinery, standard je rate dia. For motor vehicle, standard je rate dia. But for depreciation tak. That is why if you involve yourself in accounting punya calculation atau accounting punya task, you will have two computation for that one asset. Satu kita ada depreciation, satu lagi kita ada capital allowance for that same asset. That is why even though from financial accounting tu kita boleh prepare a financial statement, but for taxation kita kena buat balik and we call it a tax computation. So lain sikit lah the figure tu. Right? So each case has to be decided on its own facts and circumstances. So we want to know whether the considerations are customer, whether dealings are influenced by other department or management trading activities are under separate management, or whether accounting methods, separate accounts are maintained. So cessation of business, bila business is winding down and they stop trading. Also important for tax purposes because whatever income yang dia dapat selepas the winding down of the business tu will be capital, bukan profit lagi dah. Okay. Right, advance receipt, the concept dia sama macam kita buat advance rental tu So from with effect year assessment 2016, any sum received in the course of carrying out a business constitute income which should be duly subject to tax in that year. Okay. So this is despite to the fact that no debt has arisen yet, services have not been rendered or property has not been used or enjoyed yet. So the sum may be wholly or partially refundable. So kita kata sum of received in advance in the course of carrying out business must be recognised as income and be subject to tax in the year of receipts. Ini pun beza juga dengan accounting because for accounting this is considered a liability. You receive a revenue but you haven't done the service yet. That is liability, not income lagi. Once you perform the service, let's say kita ambil deposit you belum perform the service. In accounting itu adalah liability. But in taxation, you dapat je duit, itu dah dikira income you dah. Regardless of you already perform the service or not. Okay, so that is different. Advance receipt ni considered as a receipt in the year of receipt, just like advance rental. So some examples of advance receipt of income can be mobile phone prepaid credit, stock value cards, example touch and go, annual subscription paid in advance to take advantage of discount given, tickets or vouchers. So the RRB has classified that security deposit and return deposit, are not revenue in nature and are not to be treated as income and therefore are not subject to tax when receive. So macam kita buat rental the deposit yang refundable tu kita tak masuk dia sebagai income because it is refundable. Trading with and trading in, yang ni boleh alright, this is about company that trades in Malaysia is liable to tax on the income derived from that trade. Satu, it must be the direct physical presence in Malaysia. Macam tadi lah, Singaporean company tapi dia ada office dekat Malaysia. Kita kata dia carry business in Malaysia. So the essential test is whether the profit concern arose from a business carried on in Malaysia, but whether the operations from which the profit arose took place in Malaysia. So the operations here ni, kita nak tahulah whether macam tadi lah kita tengok the earlier slide tadi tu, trading with and trading in ni. So not necessarily profit tu dapat di Malaysia baru nak dikira sebagai taxable in Malaysia. The operations tu, if it is conducted in Malaysia, then kita boleh kata itu ialah profit arose ataupun took place in Malaysia. Right? So for example, sign contract dekat sini. Title of the book pass from buyer to seller dekat sini, proceed of sale received dekat sini. So these are not conclusive on their own but should be collectively considered in arriving the final decision. Other types of business income. Tadi very straightforward, manufacturer, supermarket lah apa semua so business income. We can also have other types of business income. For example, income from e-commerce. So IRB ada guideline on taxation of electronic commerce which is taxable. And then also I think I didn't share with you the public ruling ni. So it is actually on the, tapi dalam rental hari tu saya ada masukkan sedikit on this part, so you can go back to your rental income notes nanti. We have one public ruling, public ruling number 12 2018 about income from the letting of property. Remember, rental income ni it can be non-business income but it can also be business income. Okay? Kalau kita ada rumah sewa, you just rent it out and provide repair, the basic repairs je, that is considered as non-business income. But if you have a house but you provide a service, provide maintenance every month, every week, maintenance and service, that is considered as business income. Walaupun it is actually a rental of property juga. Okay, so based on this public ruling ni, if you let a property deemed as a business source and the income is received from it is charged to tax under 4A of the Income Tax Act, if maintenance or support service are provided in relation to the real property. If you don't provide anything, that would be considered under non-business income. Okay, but here you provide maintenance and also support, so kita consider ini sebagai business income, and also interest income, and some about loans or advances to a director by a company, so ini pun consider as business income juga. Alright, I want you to go back to Vincent Chin question, tapi jap, Vincent Chin dah ada balancing charge and capital allowance. Saya ni belum belajar, tak payah lagi lah, simpan dulu lah soalan Vincent Chin ni. But we can still look at the question. So if you go back to this Vincent Chin, dia ada dua business, bookshop and also restaurant. Okay, so untuk bookshop ni adjusted income, untung lah 190,000. Untuk restaurant adjusted loss, in bracket it is a loss 18,000. So bookshop dia ada brought forward loss, which means last year or previous year they lost, so the loss can be carried forward to reduce your income tax. So it is not fair untuk kita kata business to making loss but you still have to pay tax. Tak, lembaga hasil is not that cruel. If the business is not making profit, you will not be taxed. Okay, so for example last year they lost. Loss last year tu can be carried forward to this year to reduce lagi the income. Nampak tak? Tahun lepas punya loss tolak dengan this year, so your income would be lower. Balancing charge untuk bookshop tak ada, untuk restaurant 5,000, capital allowance for bookshop 50,000, for restaurant 10,000. Capital allowance brought forward untuk bookshop tak ada, untuk restaurant 5,000. Ini saya copy balik from the question. You can go back to your question tadi tu. And Vincent had an overseas business, overseas business income of 200,000, of which 50% was remitted to Malaysia. So the capital allowance attributed to the business was 16,000. Lari habis nasib menjawapan ni. Sekejap, tukar sikit. Balancing charge tadi untuk restaurant. 15,000, 10,000, and absorb capital allowance. 175. Business comes forward. Business comes forward. Tinggal satu kat sini ya, dia ada business loss brought forward ni. 15,000. So this is scripted now. So 160 sebetulnya. Right. Okay, so this is the information that you have for Vincent Chin. Again, you can refer to topic 3 for the format of business income ni. But I have shared with you dalam my guru under business income notes tu, there's one example, comprehensive example with solutions. Subang something rasanya soalan tu saya letak. Subang elektronik. So that is how we will do a proper business income or business taxation calculation. But here, for this Vincent ni, kita cuma ambil, I just give you the important figures je. Because here nampak tak, kita tak kira macam mana kita dapat 190 and 18,000 ni. We don't have the calculation here. Right? Kita cuma ada the straight, the total figure je. But later untuk soalan seterusnya for business income ni, kita akan kira how to get up to this 190,000. But for this one, the details dia just for the sake of computation up to tax charge. Kita ada a few figure that you have to plug in je lah. So based on this figure, what we have here is like I said, dia ada dua business bookshop and also restaurant. Ya, pilih ke yang ni tadi. Okay, never mind. Okay, so adjusted income for bookshop is 190. Kita ada capital allowance current year forward. 5,000, 10,000, alright. And then for the bookshop itself, the income would be 175,000. For the restaurant tak adalah. Because for the restaurant ni kalau kita tengok the capital allowance carry forward pun negatif So tak adalah, dia tak ada adjusted business income kat sini. So kita bawa 175 dekat sini. So since the business ada business loss brought forward, nampak tak? For business loss brought forward ni kita tolak dekat total Kita tak tolak dekat mana-mana sini. Capital allowance je kita tolak ikut which business. But for business loss brought forward, let's say dia ada 3 business pun, the business loss brought forward tu, what you have to do is you have to carry after you total 3 business tu, baru tolak the business loss brought forward. So business loss brought forward tak kira business mana. So, kita bawa from previous year. So 175 income dia, less the business loss brought forward 15,000. And overseas business income and overseas capital allowance is exempted. Dia bawa masuk ke Malaysia, is not taxable. So that will give us dia punya business income is 160,000. Right, remember tadi kita dah kira kan mana untuk soalan yang sebelum ni tadi 4% taxation tu. Alright, kita dah kira from section 4B until section 4D. Kita ada aggregate income of 69,800. Okay. So based on this calculation tadi, kita ada another 160,000. So what you have to do is actually to tambah je dia punya aggregate income ni dekat sini So continue your calculation. So donation pun nanti akan jadi nombor lain lah. Because tadi kita kira 7% daripada nombor yang 4B je kan. So now donation dia akan jadi number lain lah. Because kita kira dah ditambah dengan business income Total income dah jadi lain. So relief actually boleh bawa kat sini relief tadi tu. So relief tadi total dia 39970. So you can letak relief dekat sini nanti. 39970. 39970. So other figures tu you kena betulkan lah nanti based on Vincent Chin punya calculation ni. Alright, so for an individual macam Vincent Chin tadi, dia ada business income, betul? So Vincent Chin tadi is a person, is an individual who has business income and also non-business income. So as an individual, dia boleh dapat personal relief. Alright, but for today, apa yang kita buat so far ni, because tadi saya patah balik pergi soalan Vincent Chin But for today, apa yang kita kira for a business, dia tak ada personal relief lah. Business tak ada relief So personal relief only for individual taxpayer. Okay, so ini actually belongs to Vincent Chin tadi lah but not all business akan ada benda ni. So I have prepared for you a few questions, maybe you want to try for the gross income ni. Okay, soalan multiple choice tu. So try question 1 and 2. What do you think is the answer? Alright, what do you think is the answer for number 1? A, B, C or D? Kau nak buat semua soalan dulu, Okay, 3 and 4. Alright, done? Let's go back to the first question. So we have here gross income from business includes cash receipt from sale of goods or from services provided, all that incurred from sale of goods and services provided, receipt in kind, and also recovery of bad debts. What do you think the answer is? Include, which means semua ni. All of the above are considered as gross income from business. Okay, nanti kita akan tengok the calculation lah untuk satu-satu ni. Jawab apa? B. 1, 2, 3. Recovery of bad debt pun is also considered as business income. Gross income tu. Number 2, which of the following is not a batch of trade?
C.
C, so yang ni semua agree C because motive yes, frequency yes, period of ownership is also a batch of trade. Number 3, which of the following is unlikely to indicate the existence of trade?
A.
Okay, so kalau A, sell his house to pay for his son's education abroad. Kalau B, sell to when there is high demand for properties. Nampak kan ini trade. Need money to pay off his huge debts, build a swimming pool in his property so he can get a higher sales price. Itu pun trade, none of the above lagi tak lah. So the answer is A. Number 4, the commencement date for luxury hotel. What do you think?
1/5 May 2070.
Okay, 1st May sebab apa 1st May?
Dia kata di opening. Kalau hotel kan dia commencement date dia tu bila waktu opening.
Advertising about its opening, belum buka lagi. Begins advertising about its opening on 1st May and state of the facility that have been built 11 May.
Oh, advertise tu bukan dia advertise tarikh tu, bukan advertise yang open hari tu.
Tadi saya dengar ada lagi jawapan lain? C. Hotel rooms are ready for guests to stay but a restaurant is not ready. 11 September. Both the rooms and restaurant are ready for guests. 5th November 2017. C or D?
D.
The answer is C. This is a hotel. Yang penting is hotel room kan. The restaurant tak ready lagi tu doesn't matter. So kalau tengok D semua dah ready for guests kan. But the answer for this question is actually C. Hotel rooms are ready for guests to stay. Do you all still have the energy to continue with business deduction? Ini baru income kita belum cerita deduction tau. Ini baru income yang masuk and then we have, untuk business income ni is quite long because we have business income. We have business deduction. Then we combine income and deduction untuk kita jadikan satu tax computation. If you refer to my guru, saya ada satu example yang saya share dekat situ. Sekejap, let me see. Apa nama dia? Alright, before kita buat, I want to show you dulu what we are going to look at. Alright. So this is what I've shared with you in your My Guru under business income topic. So you all jangan sesat lah cari the materials. The materials are put according to the topic. Right, so for personal taxation especially, there are a lot of materials there. So jangan nampak satu je. You buka personal taxation tu ada macam-macam kat dalam tu. And this one is actually under business income and deduction. So what we are going to do later is, this is the example of the question. Memang dah ada dalam My Guru. So you all boleh tengok-tengok dulu. Because I have another question nanti untuk kita buat. So for example here, this is the financial statement of sebuah electronics ni. So there the sales, cost of sales, other income, expenses, blah blah blah, and the net profit before tax. What we're going to do is we want to know whether all these expenses ni can be deducted for the sake of taxation. In accounting, these are all expenses. It can be deducted to arrive at the net profit before tax. But for taxation, tak semua ni boleh tolak to reduce your income tax. Alright, so we cannot simply take the net profit figure to calculate the tax charge for this company. Kita kena tengok balik income dia, and then the expenses dia, allowable or non-allowable expenses. For non-allowable expenses kita kena tambah balik lah. So for example here kita ada, so this is a very long question but I really want you to go through the question because saya ada provide solution juga dekat sini. So for example here dia ada cost of sales. Cost of sales tu ada pula donation dekat situ. And then the warehouse was broken, ada electrical was stolen, ada insurance recovery pula. Ada income ni, dalam ada income dia ni, because here kita ada income dia 555. But here we know that ada rent received from property Indonesia, ada dividend, ada apa lagi? Remuneration ni include apa? Entertainment expenses dekat siapa? Professional fees tu apa? Advertising, entertainment expenses. Banyaklah bad debts. Sampailah ke, where is the, this is the computation dia. So you have to really understand the business income and also the deductions in order for you to arrive at this kind of computation. Because for your final exam, we are looking at this kind of computation for business taxation. Anyway, for business deduction. Alright, so for business deduction ni, saya go through sikit je dulu so we will continue next week. Business deduction ni is actually, we want to look at, first of all, the gross income lah. These are the objective question tadi kan, all cash or debt arising, the cost of carrying business, dividend income, so all these are considered as gross income from business. And for a deduction, we want to also understand that capital expenditure are not deductible. Just like bila kita buat rental income, renovation semua tu kita tak boleh tolak kan. So renovation tu tak boleh tolak to reduce the taxation. And for expenditure to qualify for deduction, it must be related to the business carried on by the taxpayer, and the expenditure must be incurred in the period which the income is brought to charge. So under Income Tax Act ni, we have section 33 for allowable deductions. These are allowed under Income Tax Act and it must be wholly and exclusively incurred in the production of gross income. And section 39, kita ada disallowable expenditure, right? Adalah from section 33, 39, 34, 35 ni, all those are actually under for the deduction. Accounting treatment, yang ni tak ada apa, deduction provision. I also share with you the public ruling for entertainment expenses. Itu pun boleh baca juga lah. You can read that. Because the details since I understand that not all of you ada textbook or taxation textbook. But what you can do is that I shared with you ada dua benda. Satu is the tax booklet from PwC for 2020 and 2021. Please read that. That will help you a lot because the explanation apa semua ada dalam tax booklet tu. If you don't have the textbook, you ada the tax booklet and also the public rulings. I also from time to time I will share with you the public rulings and you must read the public rulings together with the text booklet and also my notes. Sometimes kalau tengok dalam notes saya just letak public ruling je kan. So the details explanation dalam nota mungkin ada explanation but not enough. You have to go to the public ruling itself and read. For example, if you need more information about income, exempt income, income exempted. So you want to know more about, for example, okay, royalty macam mana, dividend macam mana, interest macam mana. You can read the public ruling. And also the tax booklet tu. If you want to know more about benefit in kind, kan, table yang kita buat untuk fuel lah, petrol lah, gardener, servant semua tu, itu pun ada dalam public ruling. So if you need it, I can share in the materials lah dalam my guru. Nanti saya akan share the public rulings. I really hope that you can read the public rulings because the explanation, the examples pun ada dalam public rulings tu. You read the public rulings tu macam you read the textbook juga. Sebab whatever you have in the textbook is actually they copy from the public ruling and the act je jadikan dalam buku. Even the public ruling tu example pun ada dalam tu and the example pun very good. And some textbook they guna example public ruling tu juga dalam buku teks dia. So you better read the public rulings juga for certain topics. So for business production ni, I will continue this next week. And before we go, I have a few information to share with you. Number one is regarding your midterm exam. That will be held this Saturday as we promised. Salah hari bulan pula, bulan Mei. Siapa nak raya tengok kalender bulan Mei dah. Okay. That will be held on Saturday, 24th of April at 9 AM. The question will be posted in My Guru under quiz. And you are given, saya belum decide lagi whether 1.5 hours or 2 hours. I think 1.5 jam je. The questions are actually multiple choice question, tapi together with calculation. Alright, so please be careful with the question because some question tu dia ada information dekat one question but you have to answer the following question based on that particular information. So 40 multiple choice questions and I think 1.5 hours is enough. Enough in a sense that if sambil you jawab, sambil buka buku cari jawapan memang tak sempat lah. This is exam. So 1.5 hours is just like when we have a face-to-face exam. Saya bagi soalan, you have 1.5 hours to answer. Like I said, if you spend time untuk cari jawapan, 1.5 hours is not enough. Okay, tak ada masa. Lemak ni jawapan dia apa? Oh, ni tajuk ni yang cari. Adalah mungkin lah you have time untuk cari but not all question. Saya tak nak nanti tu mesti, doktor soalan ni tak siap lagi, tak siap lagi. No. 40 question for 1.5 hours, I think it's just enough. Nanti saya tengok balik lah because I'm still contemplating whether to give you 1.5 hours or 2 hours. So untuk multiple choice senang, you just jawab dekat situ. You don't have to upload anything pun kan, you just answer dekat situ je. Alright, number 2 is about the draft for the group assignment. Unfortunately for this group, I only received 1 draft. I should have received 10 drafts, but I only received 1. So those of you yang mana saya dah, I have to reject because dalam sistem My Guru tu dia tak ada return punya button. Dia ada reject je, reject with reason. So those of you who have already received the comments, so you can proceed with the assignment. But please take into considerations the comments that I've given to you. And the rest, you have until saya dah extend 1 day for you because 24th kita buat exam. Initially, saya letak sampai 24th for you to submit the draft. Not the complete lagi, the draft sahaja. But I've extended until Sunday 11 PM. So please, ada groups yang belum share, belum hantar the draft, you can go to My Guru under assignment. Saya letak group assignment draft. Only ketua sahaja yang kena hantar your draft. And I need to see main points to be included in your project too. And also evidence of group discussion. WhatsApp chat ke, Google Meet session, whatever the screenshot that you have. Ada juga groups yang submit pada saya, the main points semua okay, but there is no evidence of discussion. Saya tak nak, I need the evidence of discussion as well. So, those group yang belum submit the draft, please do so by Sunday 25th of April. There's a portion of marks for the draft as well. So those yang saya dah return balik tu, you don't have to resubmit and just update your assignment based on the comments je. Okay? I think that's all the housekeeping for today. Dua benda je yang saya nak bagi tahu. And this week is already week 7. I only have time, I think this week lah, untuk check back all your attendance. So please, if you sign in to class without using the link that I provided and your name is not in the attendance, please let me know. Okay. And if you are actually absent from the class for more than 2 times, I will have to issue you a warning letter. Okay, saya belum sempat check betul-betul lagi the attendance lah. Saya just tengok sekali lalu macam tu je. But I have the names lah yang keep appearing in the system tu. So please, if you attend, please check your attendance as well. If you attend but your name appear as absent, please let me know. Okay? So we will continue with business deduction next week. Kita ada banyak lagi topik yang bila saya tengok ni, we might have class until week 14. Because we still have partnership, we have taxation of trust, settlements and estates. And we have, I think this is the last topic that you learn in your taxation class. Lepas ni topik yang you belum belajar lagi dalam taxation class. And you have partnership, you have settlement, trust and estates. We have zakat. So all those are not covered yet in taxation class, so especially for those who have taken tax 1 before. So sampai business tax lah. So the rest, another half lagi ni memang belum ada dalam tax 1 lah. Alright, any other question tak?
Madam,
Yep.
can you provide the answer for the quiz that we have done before?
Oh, untuk Haziq tu Oh, you want the multiple choice question? Okay, nanti saya tengok. But untuk Haziq tu, I will upload later. Saya baru update last night. Yang ada satu employment income tu kan, yang nama Haziq tu. Okay, so I upload the answer later. Right? And also, I think rental income saya dah share kan. Ada few tutorial questions, saya dah share the jawapan. Except that for the quiz lah. Quiz nanti saya check balik. Okay? Any other question? Tak ada tak ada. Alright, so I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Stay safe semua.
Thank you, Madam.
Have a nice day. Selamat berbuka.
Buka lambat lagi 2 tengah hari. Fikir apa menu nak masak hari ni.